Create, make, produce, do, be, whatever you want to call it. Hey, this is Todd from Todd Young Online. Another Canson sketchbook from the mid 90s with a lot of good and bad doodles in it. I remember this one because I remember being in school when I had this one, working through it and finding this fountain pen. It was my first time with a fountain pen in the bookstore. And it was just the most wonderful drawing instrument. It just had the best line weight. It had easy to use. It was smooth. I had that thing for a while and then it broke. And I was very sad. and since then I've had a lot of fountain pens. I like drawing with them. I like a medium tip mostly. I like I've tried a fine tip thinking, oh, and it was just a little too scratchy. It wasn't as good. But I've tried brushes. I've tried pens, markers, just everything to find just the perfect line weights, and it took me quite a while to realize that inkers do what they do with intention. To me, I always thought it was kind of like if you look at like Japanese and Chinese calligraphy and using that single brush to get thin and fat and control it, and inkers do that too, but at the same time they'll go over the line a couple of times instead of trying for a single stroke to get the line character that they want, to get it a little thicker here, a little thinner there. And it took me forever to kind of figure that out and realize that. I forget where I saw that happening, and I was like, oh, light bulb moment. Because to me, it was always like, all right, use like a fat Sharpie and then a thin Sharpie, and then so learning everywhere. But I saw kind of on a tangent, I saw something today or yesterday on Instagram and somebody creating a thing that said create art. And I've always kind of thought create anything that you really need. I always felt like, and maybe just because from my point of view, everybody should have like that right brain creative outlet, that thing that they love to do. And I've talked to people that I'm like, what's your creative outlet? Do you draw? Do you paint? Do you sing? Do you dance? And they'll be like, I don't know. And it was just confusing to me because I'm like, everybody, to me, you've got to have that creative part of you expressed in some way for you to be a whole person. You have the logic side, you have the creative side, and then you have like the part where they meet in the middle too. So more of these character drawings, which probably cross over a lot. I look at, looking 96-ish. So I kind of was a little better than I was in some of the other ones, but still lacking in real figure training, really concentrating and understanding the figure as I should have. That would have saved me a lot of time. I remember in high school drawing and doing outlines. I don't know if anybody else does that, which is kind of funny because I've seen like some really good artists now that can sit there with a brush or a pen. What's his anyway? There are some artists that can really, they see what they're going to do and then can get it down on paper and keep doing that. I remember I would do like an outline and then, and it is not an efficient way to do anything. It's an interesting way of doing something. You can lean into it and find your way with it. But it was once I learned how to start blocking in you know, putting in your shapes and putting in your gestures and and I'm still, like I say, in anything else, I'm still practicing. I was working, this is one of the first times I was working with somebody else, helping to develop their characters for their property. Um, at some point, I came across like this almost coloring book style. I think it's more of a graphic style, heavy lines, thin lines inside, that I really liked. I really like that about like Art Nouveau too. That Art Nouveau style where it's a flowy, less lines, more. There are a few artists out there that really do it well and do it illustratively, and I really appreciate that. But getting back to, I just, everybody needs some creative outlet to. I just feel better after creating something, whether it's writing or drawing or painting or I'm still not really understanding, trying to understand better what to do with paint. I remember painting class again in school. The teacher set up a still life and said, paint this. And I did 5 different paintings over each other because I was like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing. So I didn't know when I was done. So I wouldn't be happy with what I did. And I would go back over it again. And the guy next to me was standing there. He's like, man, that changes every time I look over at you. And I was like, yeah, okay. I'm like, I don't know what to do, So, and that's still me finding my vocabulary and my way through art. But as far as create something, create anything, go for me, I've started some other projects. I kind of stalled out on a couple of projects and figuring out a couple other things I wanted to do. They're a little bit quicker. I like getting through the process. I'm working with software like After Effects that I hadn't in a while, so I was having to figure that out. And it's amazing how exhausting it can be, again, to get back into something that you hadn't touched in a while. So it's to me, I enjoy having a finished product. I enjoy making do with what I've got to get there. And right now I have a lot of assets. I've been fortunate to kind of hoard things and been able to afford some things and be able to have them on hand. So whatever I want to do, I have a way to get it done. But one project I had recently, I kind of stalled out because I didn't have an asset that I wanted, and it kind of frustrated me to a point of a standstill. But then being away from it for a while and coming back, and I realized, oh, I can do it this way instead. So there's always a way. There's always where, everything is just figuring out the work and the process and finding out what you can do versus what you might like to do next time, because you can always revisit it. I've said this is full of the good, bad, and the ugly. Sometimes I try to be more intentional than lucky, because, sometimes you do something and you're like, this is a way better thing than I'm capable of doing consistently. But so I'm trying to get better at understanding what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But by all means, please, you do that too. Go out and create something today. Create art, create music, create a building, create a birdhouse, create a stick with a pointy end on it. I don't know. Whatever you would like to do, go out and do it today, and know that I'm rooting for you and would love to see what you do. Here we are at the end, and thank you for your time, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.